Start with a little pledge and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I always think it's amazing. As I was talking to the big man last night, he said, well, we're going to see how bad you people can screw it up again. Now, that wasn't taking one side or the other side. But, okay, roll call. Bob, Lou, and Doug.
Here.
Here.
I'm here.
You sure?
Yeah, you know, it's hard to tell sometimes, Bob. Didn't want to. That leaves 3, 7, 8, 9. 9 more meetings, in case anybody's wondering. 9th one doesn't amount to much. 8th one will be very, very good. We'll see what salaries are going to be and who's going to be elected to come in and flow with the tide. So, public comments. Joe, you got anything to say today? Oh, God. I'm rather disappointed. I mentioned to the wife that you'd be up to say something, so she'll be disappointed now and take it out on me. That takes care of public comments. How about administrative business?
A couple of quick items. First, under formal board action, item B, the motion to approve extension district operational agreement. We did receive a request late Friday that they wanted that pulled. I notified the board. We'd already created the packet, so we couldn't pull it out of the packet, but they asked to have it removed from the agenda today. The other thing is next week, Monday, the courthouse will be closed, county offices closed in observance of Veterans Day. The Veterans Day parade is on the 11th.
Would you go over your...
Veterans Day parade will be on Monday.
Is it on Monday?
I believe it is.
I thought they did it on
Yes, on
okay.
It's on Monday.
It's on Monday.
Okay.
Would you go over your first item again?
Extension Council.
Yeah, it brings up a...
Item B in the formal board action.
Okay.
They had submitted that for the agenda.
Right.
But Friday, after the packet had already been created and dispersed, they asked to have it pulled. So they've asked that we not consider item B today.
Till when?
They just asked to have it pulled. They did
Well,
not
see, this is starting to
consider
bother me. Everybody's wanting to wait till after the first of the year.
I think the Extension Council's here and could speak if you wanted to.
Okay. Too many things coming after the first year that are starting to bother me.
This is not, I don't think this is not coming after the first year. I don't think we could make a rational decision without going over the packet because we were told that they were pulling it. But I think what we could do is listen to them and ask any questions that we have and just not make a decision today.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Well, that's a good opinion, Bob. Do you have an opinion?
No, I didn't. I mean, I looked over it.
Yeah, so did I.
I thought they were pulling it.
Well, I don't...
They're here.
Yeah, I know it. They're here. It was awful nice of them to show up. Does anybody with the council want to say something, or you just want to say, well, you pulled it?
No, I'll come up, Commissioner. Again, my name is Tim Getz, and I'm the chairman of the Leavenworth County Extension Office. The reason why we was wanting to pull the thing, because after last week's, comments on our package, on the approval of the agenda, we felt like the Board of County Commissioners was not properly informed of one of the resolution and one of the operational agreement. And, it was spoken that you thought there was a mill cap levy that was written into the agreement, and there was a mill levy cap that was written into the agreement. So we felt like maybe we needed to either do a study session or work session, and maybe, go back over through the packets more with you so that you clearly understood what was in the agreement and what the role of the county commissioners would be in the agreement. And, so that's where we felt like we didn't do our part in educating you enough to make a proper decision. And this is not about trying to hold off a decision for next year or anything. We just felt like, that when you was approving the agenda for the board, for the Leavenworth County Extension Office to be on the agenda, we just felt like that you guys were a little bit not fully understood about the agreement and, what it was going to be all about and the future of the districting, what was going to happen. And that's all we felt like. We just felt like we didn't do our part on educating the Board of County Commissioners on the districting. And I know the biggest concern is for you guys is mill levies and mill caps and how that would operate, for the future of all taxpayers. And because I know that, that's something you're always concerned about, Mr. Clint.
Ma'am, would you please get up and go outside? I've done that myself, and I just want to take my phone and throw it. Because it's, my fault that I don't shut them off.
So, we felt like, well, we didn't want to be a no-show, and we felt that would be more disrespectful too, by not being a no-show, and that's why we're here. If you had any questions, we're here available to ask them, or feel free to hunt us. But I know that Mr. Klemp, I know that you're always concerned about relinquishing the power in the mill levy, and the one thing is finding a group or an organization that will be taxpayer minded about mill levies and how they operate. And the history of the districtings throughout the state of Kansas have been truthfully good taxpayers and stewards of the mill levies, and have recent records that show that we're districting, the offices have lowered their mill levy as assessed valuations have gone up. Due to the economy, like in some of the districtings out in western Kansas, where they're heavily weighted on the oil field industry and the consumer gas, where that's gone up and down, they've had a little bit more spikes. But in some of these histories that have been like, 15 years, been in the industry for 15 years, have relatively stayed relatively flat, because the unique thing about districting is you do have representation from every county. And so, the law of nature is that, there's people that are, since they are elected from the taxpayers, they're almost like they're like a county commissioner. They are elected, and they're good stewards of the mill levies and the tax, the setting the values in their operation budget. So, does our extension office and the Atchison Extension and the Leavenworth Extension Office say, wow, we formed a district and we're going to, triple our budget, and we're going to just go buy all new cars and equipment and, do all that? No, that's not the plan, no.
Well, there was only 2 questions, and when you're having your next meeting, you can go through them. One is, you're going to have a location up in Atchison, one down here. I'm always in favor of unification, police and sheriff, public works. We got a public works down there. We got a public works here. Fire districts, we got, we got 12, I think it is. Everybody wants to, I don't want to give up my power. Now, once we give it up, it's sort of like the library. And a lot of people don't know about the library in Leavenworth, because they haven't been involved with the library. Well, the library does anything they want. And the one in Kansas City had to shut down because of bed bugs, Well, how did you get the bed bugs? Because, you got a lounge in there where people that are, free to be there, As long as the library's open, they sleep and so unification is good. It's totally good. But, well, it's like the judges. You ever see judges not get voted in? Man, they have to do something pretty bad. It's just automatic. So that's the way your board could be, but we know this board isn't. Because you can get bozos up here. And, you know, that's what the fives called us. If we happen to go after 7 o'clock tonight, then there may be 5 bozos up here, you know. It's hard to come up with a good person that isn't a bozo to serve up here. So that was my only question. Is there going to be a place up there and a place down here, and you don't have to answer it now, and we relinquish what we will get assassinated for later because you get a board that, most boards are made up in favor of mental health. Very seldom you get anybody that's against mental health. Very seldom do you get anybody that's against what you do. But Public Works and this board, we got a lot of people think that we do not perform. I mean, this was just over the weekend, not a big deal, you know. I read it in between soccer games, things that are important. So that's all I had, Tim, and you can, at your next board meeting, get those resolved, and hopefully we'll be here, and if we're not here, hopefully the next board will be.
Well, I hope, you know, I hope you take this in a good way. I hope that you think I'm more like you. And the reason why I say that, because I'm going to test your memory here a little bit.
Ooh.
So, you know, we're going to go back to 1982, 1983.
Okay.
And a lot of people, I think, you know, you're one of the founders and godfathers of soccer in Leavenworth County.
That's true.
And nobody was on your same page. And you went around and you hammered the school districts and city offices and tried to get parks in and get a city soccer league in. And you know how much work you put in to accomplish that. Nobody's seen your vision. And you had to fight sometimes by yourself and alone to see that vision. Now you probably pride yourself because you go out there to Warren Middle School and you see about 1,000 kids out there and parents, and the city has spent millions and millions of dollars building soccer fields and soccer leagues and coaches, and now every high school pretty well all has a soccer program. You know, it started off that when you started off the soccer program in the high school, the kids had a jog clear out to the pasture out on John Himes' farm. You remember that?
In the cow pods.
In the cow pods, and they practiced. But you accomplished that, and you got it going. And nobody was really on your page on that vision. And, you know, the extension office, we're kind of at this stage now that there's maybe not a lot of people on our same vision, but we see the vision. And we're at a stage where some of the things that worked in the old times are not working today. And we got to make some adjustments and make some changes to make things work. And, you know, and I hope that the Board of County Commissioners sees our vision and has faith, just like, you know, I hope you have faith and trust in us that we would be good stewards with the mill levies. And now, you know, you look back, well, how many people's come back to you and say, well, thank you, Louis, for getting soccer in Leavenworth County? You know.
I think it's 0, but that's all right.
But
I see the kids. That's
right.
that.
But I remember that 35 years ago.
That's
you know,
good.
so I'm just telling you, I'm kind of I'm like you. I'm a little bit, you know, of a little bit of an outlaw, a little bit of a rebel, but you know, I want you to see the good side. I hope you have trust and faith in us, and that's you know, that's what I want to come across to you. That
you know, the big thing I see is we have to adapt to the change that's in the county, and it worries me because we're becoming more and more non-agricultural.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And you see it because of the development that's going on in Appraiser, Tonganoxie. They're not coming out here building $150,000 homes. They're building expensive homes and they want to live in that style, and you can't hold that against them. But it is rather concerning or disconcerting to me that how do we adapt to that, because it's a business. We got people that do surveying, we got people that build houses, we got people that do water lines, and how do we adapt to that for the future? And do we want to slow it down? Do we want to speed it up? And we can have the whole county into houses and we'll have no use for you. And that's not good because,
Well,
you know,
Jeff Coberson even explained that a few years back with Denise Sullivan. He did a program teaching youth on GIS mapping and stuff. And every one of those youths that Denise Sullivan had in the 4-H program that he taught GIS mapping with, every one of those kids went to college and got a technology degree, and some related to the GIS mapping.
That's what it's about, really.
And then the agriculture industry and everything's, like you said, it's evolving, it's technology, it's everything. And we also got programs that reach out to all the citizens, you know, the baby boomers and et cetera. So, you know, it's more than just the 4-H kids in the fair and the extension off in the agriculture industry, but you know, we're a pretty diverse program, and we're proud to say that we are the first extension office that was ever formed in the state of Kansas. And one of the big priorities was during World War I was the number one priority was to make sure that there was enough food growing and to help the farmers so that they could win the war.
And you know what? The prices are still at the same as they were in World War I. You take a look at oats, it hadn't changed. So,
Yeah,
so you talk that over, and if you get back to us before, maybe we'll have a good approach. And if not, you can talk to the next group, and you'll have a little more education to do with them. But that's all right.
And please send any of your questions or concerns to Mark and have him email it to us, you know, in advance so that we can try to answer all your questions. I just apologize that we felt like we didn't educate you guys enough to make a proper decision.
I feel a lot better if you'd blame us a little bit. Can you blame us?
I know, I'm not here to blame
Tim, come on.
I'll blame you.
So,
Good. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
We're going to have a work session on this, or just have them?
Well, I thought they were going to have something first.
Okay.
It doesn't matter to
Is
me.
that fine? Is that?
Whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
I'll attend the work
Get
session
together
if
with
you guys
Mark
wanna have a
and-
work session.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Tim. You didn't have to bring up the history, though. Now I'll be sentimental all day. Okay. We got that part answered. Let's go to the consent agenda. The minutes. Any questions on the minutes? Thank you for coming, board. Appreciate it.
No.
Are you good with, oh, you're looking
Yeah,
right
right here.
There you go. Fine.
I'm fine with it.
Bob, any question on the minutes?
Nope.
Now, the only thing I had down, I want to thank Roseanne Soxy for being here.
Yes.
That's always a touching thing, a very fine lady.
I've run into several people after that vote was taken, and quite a few people were kind of upset with the planning and zoning for everybody was in favor of that except them. I think I'd kind of like to maybe hear in more depth what their problem was with plating.
Well, you know, the interesting thing, I was on the City of Leavenworth Planning Board, and I remember going to a meeting, and we had voted, I don't remember what's on the board, 7-0, I think it was. They were going to take down here where the plumber is, plumbing sales, and they wanted to turn that into a low rent district. And the board voted, I think it was 7-0. And then I just happened to go to a city meeting in those days. And the city planning person was there, and they were given a minority report. Now, it would have been nice if they were going to give a minority report that we were invited to be there because they wanted to make it low rent. We have low rent up there on, what is it, 2nd Street or 3rd Street. That's created a massive problem for Leavenworth. But they were there to give a second opinion, which I didn't think was right without the board being there.
Yeah.
So that's what I think we're up here for, and that's why this isn't. Administrator, would you put on that report for us to do? No, that's not what this is about. This is about people going to be elected to be a participant, not to micromanage, but to be a participant in the logic. So I don't know if you want to ask the administrator. I think we got enough on our agenda, but if you want to ask him to get something else from them to come and give a presentation, that's fine.
I might do it on my own.
Oh, okay, but you can do it.
Yeah.
So,
Report back to us?
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
appreciate it. So you were hinting that I was doing this because I had a feeling for Roseanne Soxy. Is that what you're?
No,
Oh, okay.
that was not the point. The point was that Planning and Zoning Commission, they approved it.
Yeah.
Granted, it wasn't by much, but it was.
It was approved.
It was approved, and.
It met all of our rules and regulations,
Right,
and
it
it's our
met all our
policies.
rules and regulations. Why weren't they on board?
Have a slice idea, but
That's
Yeah.
my concern, and that's what several people around the courthouse, even elected officials, come up to me.
Well, you want to have a little diversity once in a while. Yeah. So the other thing is Commissioner Smith reported City of Lansing will be requesting a 1 mile. Have they requested that yet?
We haven't received any formal requests from any of the cities.
That was from the work session.
That's from the work session. Okay. So probably take what, a couple years to get that?
I hope
City government.
I don't think it should take that long.
Well, it's Commissioner Smith. Tonganoxie Planning Commission, will they have a chance to look at all the county road?
They said they wouldn't have time to do a public notice and all that by the time we need to approve it.
Okay.
And they're okay with that.
And here's this Commissioner Smith.
Boy, you're
Are
really
you the
picking
only
on me
one?
today.
Yeah, well, you were asking about a deadline on getting the right-of-way acquisitions for the PRP project.
That is correct.
And my question on that was, you know, you got to get the deeds recorded. Why is this a county problem? To me, I think that somebody that's involved, like, you know, the 5 commissioners, we didn't put it on the board, and these people go out and get a petition, and a vote.
Well, but somebody has to give them the document from the courthouse to
Yeah.
get it signed, notarized, and recorded. And that's where we fall behind, and projects don't get done and bid in time because of right-of-way acquisition.
So is it not enough of an interest to those people that want to get their road done?
Well, they have to wait on a response from the courthouse. Once they sign that says they will do it, then they have, it's in Public Works' hands to get them signed up. To officially donate that right away.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is when we did and got the roads taken over by the county, it was
1973, October?
one little guy up there in Easton and
October
2 ladies.
9th,
I think the 2
13th.
ladies were
1973.
in Tonganoxie. We did it all. Now that's a whole county. So you got somebody with a road that isn't going to lead that program. And that's what is sort of It didn't bother me in great detail, but again, we're having to do the work for somebody that wants a change. So I just think that somebody who's working on that road and wants that road done, that they can come in and get the documents. We can have the documents prepared, but to go
Okay.
out and go to this house and they're not there, and go to that house again and they're not there.
Okay, well, this is at the end of the deal, the right-of-way acquisition.
Yeah.
We can spend more time on it then. Mr.
Okay.
Dixon's here now. So,
Okay,
but yes, that's correct. It's in the minutes, correct. That's what I said.
and there's no more Smiths on
There's
here.
no more, well, there could be.
Okay. Click. There's one here by Clint that says locks on offices. Are we moving ahead with that?
Yes, we're moving ahead with that.
Okay.
You want to talk about that now? I agree with you. And how are we going to fund it? Well, the last sales tax was 2006 to 16,
Mm-hmm.
had Homeland Security. And we have money left over from that sales tax
Okay.
that we could get on this right away, and we have funds. You're absolutely right. This courthouse is not secure at all.
That is not secure.
It's really, when you think about it, it's really
Well,
bad.
and you can walk in with a firearm and there's nothing we can do about it.
You don't have a firearm, do you?
Oh, do you want to frisk me?
You can walk in with a briefcase here too.
Yeah.
You have a gentleman that does. Oh,
Yeah.
didn't mean to.
Yeah.
But nobody knows what's in that briefcase.
Well, that's true.
Nobody knows
And a
what.
lot of times people just carry them because they look important, you know. You look like a professional, you know. If you carry a briefcase and you're from out of town, you're a professional.
Well,
Or a
Douglas,
lawyer.
Yeah.
why don't we each get a
Excuse
briefcase?
me.
I think I have a briefcase.
Okay, well,
Start carrying it.
I'll start out with, no. But I'm serious,
Yeah.
we're not secure.
No, and I
And
think.
I don't think the funding, I think we have funding to take care of this, and we need to fast track this.
I think that's true. So, Administrator, you've heard,
We are working on it.
yeah, we don't want to leave it to the next group. The next group's going to take them 6 months to get educated on what the situations are.
Sorry to get off track.
Approved, were you off track?
Yes, sir. Off the agenda.
I didn't think so.
Okay.
Approval of the schedule for next week.
Don't see any problems. So move. Motion to approve.
Okay. Did you have something you wanted to add to that?
No, I can't do, well, you usually do the chamber, right? And I'm not sure I can do the LCDC next Thursday, but I'll try.
Okay.
But yeah, we're good.
The only thing that I see on there, and I'll probably attend the University of Kansas unless you want to go to that,
Nope, I'll let you.
okay, is, we're doing the canvas. I want to, as soon as that canvas is done,
Mm-hmm.
I want to move as rapidly as possible with the 5 districts,
Assuming it passes.
as soon as it passes.
Okay.
And I also had on there salaries for the commissioners. And by then, hopefully, we can get the request for all the counties that I have out. Approval of the check register.
It's pretty low this month.
Yeah. And, well, there was a couple items on there. I think the big one was on roads, we spent $49.36.
No, that was a big
Now, somebody,
$49.
yeah, somebody's gonna say, you guys just aren't doing your job, you gotta, of course, it was $1 million something for the last,
Right.
and approval to sign the OCB, so I'll take a motion on the consent
I
agenda.
move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay,
I'll second it.
been moved and seconded, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 Okay, next item, formal board action. Consider a motion to approve a letter of support for the NEK-CAP grant.
Let's do it now.
All this is just a letter of support. isn't
Just a
it?
letter of support.
Letter of support. It's the Early Head Start program. They had submitted this, and they did have somebody here last week. They were confused that it was.
Oh, okay.
By the time they got it to us late Friday, the packet was already out. They thought they were going to be on the next week. We told them it would be this week, but wires got crossed. So they had somebody here last week. They couldn't get somebody here this week. That's
Nobody
why.
here this week, is there?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you come in.
Yeah. Does anybody want to?
No, it's a good program.
It's just nice of you to attend unless you just want to come up and be recognized. There's no reason to.
She would like me to come up.
Right.
So I'm Teresa. I'm a family development advocate at NECAP Head Start. So it's both the Early Head Start and Head Start programs that we are reapplying for our grant for. Basically what we do is we help low-income families get back on their feet using local, state, and federal, I guess you could say. We help them through both health and academics, so our children come into our program. We help them get a jump start on their education, and then we also follow up with their health and make sure that they're attending their doctor's appointments, getting their immunizations. We help families find housing. We work with local organizations to help them get help with their rent and utilities, just get back on their feet so that they can live independently. So we're asking for letters of support to help us when we reapply for this grant, in order to say, like, hey, this is what they are doing for our community, this is what it's helping. So we're really just looking for that support so we can stay open and keep serving these families and helping them out.
Any questions?
No, Bob and I get a presentation on this once a month.
Yeah.
From Mid-America Regional Council.
And you're working on getting diesel mechanics, people with CDLs,
Yes, we do
automotive,
have
aviation mechanics?
mechanics. No, we do have people with CDLs to drive our buses, but
No, I'm talking about, this is where education needs to go.
yes.
You got all the kids going to college, you know, they got to go to college because if you want to be a success. No, that's not true. There are other endeavors where you can make a very decent salary, and we're going to be short of CDL drivers, diesel mechanics, aviation mechanics, automotive mechanics, sheet rockers. You can just go on, and either that or you can come out of college with a $200,000 debt. So, you know,
True.
there's an option there. So it's nice of you to be involved, and it looks like they don't have any questions, and I don't have any, so.
No, like I said, Bob and I get a presentation every month on
Very
early
good.
childhood development or
We're gonna
Head
move
Start.
to-
I'll move that authorize the chairman to sign a letter of support for the grant.
I think all of us are on there.
Oh, okay.
That was mentioned that we ought to shorten that a little bit, and maybe just
Have the chairman.
have the chairman, so, you know, because you may have to leave early, and they don't get a signature, and she has to wait for a signature, so it'd be easier.
Well, today's the day for your signatures. You've got 83 of them to do.
Yeah, I know it. That's good.
So, all right, I'll move
But I
that the
got
board
3.
support the letter of, or signing the letter of support for the Northeast Kansas CAP for the early childhood development.
Second.
Been moved second. How you vote?
Aye.
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 Very good.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
for coming forward. Get this signed real quick, like, and I thought maybe we were holding off on that because people didn't want stuff lingering around with my signature on it.
Oh,
I think on something like this, they like to see
Yeah,
that, I think every signature of every board member.
yeah, because they don't know how it was approved. It may have been 2-1.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you. Okay, consider motion, oh, that's been pulled. Extension Council. Okay. Next item. Consider a motion to approve an abatement in the amount of $4,480 in assessed value in the 2018 tax year for disaster relief for tax ID 1-04346. That's from the county appraiser. Does anybody have any questions of the county appraiser? We'll listen to you, Bob. Go ahead.
All right. So KSA 791613 allows Board of County Commissioners to abate all property taxes on a homestead destroyed or substantially destroyed due to a disaster, as earthquake, flood, tornado, fire. After January 1st, prior to August 15th, the homestead, the property on the single-family structure 1116 Spruce Street was destroyed by fire. And I have a typo there. It's 5/3/2018, not 2017. The owner supplied insurance estimates for the property, and appraisal staff has inspected the property. The market value was estimated at $58,760. As of January 1st, the replacement cost value of the damaged components was $94,450. That meets the criteria for being determined substantially destroyed. In prorating out for 242 days, the assessed value on the house that was destroyed, it comes out to $4,480. That would be abated on your approval. So I guess we'd need a motion to approve a motion to abate $4,480 in assessed value in 2018 tax year for disaster relief for tax ID number 1-04346.
And we're going to be able to operate with that $4,400?
That was, I think, when I put the estimated taxes
I
on,
thought
that's the total
that's
estimated taxes.
That's a joke,
So,
Bob.
yeah.
Somebody want to do a motion to approve? Or do you have questions?
No, I don't have any questions. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
it's
I'll make-
amazing.
I'll
It's
make a
very good.
motion.
We like it when the appraiser does the right things. That's a joke,
I'll
Bob.
make a
Take it
motion
easy.
to approve
Okay.
$4,480 for the property and taxes assessed on, what's the number?
Well, that'd be tax ID.
Yeah, tax
one
ID.
dash, 1-04346.
Okay. 1-04346, tax ID number.
I'll second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. We don't have to have a, what do you call it, a resolution number and all that? No. Okay, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 Very good. Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
Okay, now consider a motion to approve replacement of 2 fleet vehicles at a cost of not more than $18,200 per vehicle for a total not more than $36,400, with $25,955 funding coming from the vehicle depreciation and $10,445 from the equipment reserved for the county appraiser's office. How much is in that reserve? Just curious.
The total I have down here is $55,937.
Okay.
But when he purple waves his other vehicles, he'll replenish some of that, replace some of that.
And we downsized our vehicle fleet, so some of that money from depreciation and insurance check for when a lady hit one of our vehicles went in there. We just
What kind of
downsized.
vehicles are these?
These are, the one is the Ford Fusion, and the other one's a 2008 Ford Fusion and 2005 Ford Taurus. The Ford Fusion has a, shop tells us has a transmissions going
Right.
bad in it, and the Ford Taurus has, the underside is rusting out.
You know, the appraiser's gonna have to quit speeding from one house to the next, you know. Just drive slowly. You don't have to tear the vehicles up.
I think it's the idling in front of the house. That's
Yeah, I think you're right.
Or it's the gravel roads they gotta drive on.
Yeah, we're getting
It
those.
must be in the first district, because it sure ain't in the third.
All right, we'll match miles and
Did you say
miles,
that?
Bob.
I did say that.
Bad, Bob.
You got 150 and we got 215, I believe. So, yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't resist.
That's
I know.
all right. He needs it. That's
Gotta
what,
keep him stepping.
you dang right. Okay.
Louis can't even get in that conversation. He doesn't have any gravel
Yeah, don't have
roads.
any gravel roads.
Yeah, don't want any.
I think a driveway is the only gravel road you got left.
Yeah, that's probably true. No, we got McIntyre. The north half of McIntyre is not done.
That's true.
Yeah. So, and what kind of vehicles you, well, we haven't gone out for the bid yet, have we?
The state contract we have here is for Ford Fusions. I attached that contract. My plan was to go to the local dealer. This is for the state contracts with Rusty at Ford out of Wichita. That has been submitted for bid. It's been a bid is to go to local dealers and give them an opportunity to match that within 5%, which I think is what the board has said.
Why do
We'd
we-
like to try to get local.
Is there a savings, do you find it with going through the state program, really?
What's that?
Going through the state program, that's what you're talking about, buying these vehicles?
The state vehicle contract.
Yeah.
So, are you talking like,
The state bids thousands of vehicles a year, so they
Right.
typically get a much more aggressive price, whereas we only bid, 20 or 30. We're allowed to use the state bid, but what we're doing and what Mr. Weber's doing is taking the state bid to the local dealer and offering them the opportunity to match that state bid so that we can purchase locally if
and
at all
the
possible.
local dealer wasn't able to match the
He hasn't done that yet.
I haven't
Oh,
gone through the
oh,
process
okay.
yet.
Just getting the,
Okay. So that's got to go out for local bid then, see if they can match it, is that what you're
I was
gonna do?
assuming I just take, since it was bid, I can take
yeah,
this. and
you
if
just
they
take that
match
sheet
it,
to
I
them and
could accept it.
allow them the opportunity.
And you use the word assume.
Well,
Okay.
that's what,
I've just heard through grapevines, and it'd be nice to know if we really save a lot going through, and there may be some pro to it, because, it's unifying, and everybody can hopefully save a little money, whether it's, unifying buying vehicles or consolidating fire departments, public works, and stuff like that, so, okay.
Some items you can, some you can't. Like metal culverts, you can't save any money. Because they bid them for the whole state and the delivery on it. And we're close to a pipe plant here in Topeka, so we always bid them ourselves and done better.
Okay.
Vehicles, it depends on what the vehicle is. We save a lot of money on dump trucks by doing the state contract.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion here to consider Bob's request.
I'll move that we approve Mr. Weber to purchase 2 new vehicles.
Well, can we move to purchase 2 new vehicles if we haven't presented?
The action requested approved to purchase 2 vehicles, but if he
Yeah,
goes
you're
out and
authorizing
uses
him.
the state contract,
But-
At a cost
He
of
doesn't have
no
to
more
do
than 18.2, right?
Okay, so what I'm getting at is if we present it to the local dealer, and he matches it, then
You're approving the purchase of the 2 vehicles in an amount not to exceed $36,400.
$36,400.
just so we're clear on that.
Okay,
That was going to be my motion.
okay, that is your,
That is my motion.
okay, that is your motion.
Second,
Moved and seconded, how you vote?
Aye.
I,
Aye. Drive a little slower, drive a little slower.
okay.
I notice the ambulances are picking up on speed again.
Well, if they're coming after me, I hope they don't.
No, not, and if you don't have any lights going, let's drive the speed limit. I look at that way, the same with the sheriff and the police. They ought to be driving the speed limit. Not zipping down, passing me at the speed they pass at. Now we gotta listen to your quarterly report.
Yes.
Thank you, Bob.
At this point, we've completed 97% of our annual reinspection of properties. We have to reinspect 1/6 of the property. We just got a few properties left, a few commercial and some properties that have building permits on them that we're waiting towards the end of the year.
You're holding off on the mini warehousing, is that what you're holding off on?
What's that?
You're holding off on mini warehousing, you wanna get that tax up real high?
Right.
Okay, just wanna know.
We expected a total of 6,840,000 parcels out of 31,096 this year. That's for the reinspection, building permits, and sales verification. Just can't give you an idea of what our appraisers are out there doing. The appraisers office is currently working on producing values for the 2018 tax year. We should be starting on our review of our final values. We usually start in around Thanksgiving time every year. So the end of November is when we start our valuation, final valuation, a review of final values, and then we will end that in end of January, and we have to mail change of value notices by the 1st of March of every year. We're required to. The sales and building permits, number of real estate sales through September is up 9%. That's just the numbers. So that's still healthy. They're still coming in strong. The month of September's was still strong. October's was strong too. So actually it was up a little bit more. I don't have that number here though, but the number of building permits for new homes is up 11% for the first 3 quarters of 2018. So we are having more new homes. We're having some new subdivisions go in. They're putting in some lots and stuff. So we're getting a few more homes than what we've had in the past few years. Still not close to the levels we were back in 2005, 2004, before the recession. Those were our highest years, those years of home construction. I included a letter in there, substantial compliance. We were Property Valuation Division, Department of Revenue, as part of a court order back from 1992, 1993 timeframe. Has to do what we call a substantial compliance audit on us every year. Part of it is sales ratio, where they compare sale prices to our values. I gave you those results last quarterly report, and then this is, with the procedural compliance, we were not found to be deficient in any area of that report. And I included a copy of that letter. The last item I have here, it just to provide a picture of where we're at as far as values compared to sale prices. So what I have here is a median ratio and this is a study I did using sales from actually the second and third quarter of 2018 compared to our 2018 sales prices. Try to get as much up-to-date picture of where we're at. And total county, we're at 93.7% for residential. That means we're valuing properties. The median ratio is at 93.7% of the sale price. The appraised value is at 93.7% of the sale price. I go through and break out. I broke out Leavenworth because I have enough. It's big enough I can break it out into several areas, the old, the mid, and new neighborhoods. And you can see a little bit difference there. The newer neighborhoods were closer to, and then the older neighborhoods in mid-range were a little bit lower on. And that goes with what we're seeing is some of the lower priced homes are selling very well. That end of the market, and then Lansing's at 95%, 95.5, and you can see the rural part of the county in Tonganoxie and Baser, the southern part of the county, we're quite a bit lower. We're at 92% and 90%, and those where we're seeing our highest sales, our highest trends, our highest indicated trends. Rural properties and the southern part, the whole southern part of the county. Those properties are selling very well, and we're falling short a little bit. We try to get as close as we can when we value January 1, but then the market keeps on going. So, and then commercial property, that was only like 12 sales. So we don't have a large sample size there. We were at 86.1% of those sales. Last year, the state ratio was 94% for commercial property with the state's racial study program from 2017. What I have so far this year is 86% on commercial property.
Did you include this letter because it says the efforts of your county appraiser and the appraisal staff to successfully complete the appraisal cycle in a satisfactory manner are to be commended? Is that one of the reasons? And then up above it says substantial compliance, so that's why you included this letter?
Well,
I
don't know if you guys
I wasn't going to
copy.
say anything about that, but
No, that is-
Louis, you couldn't just say.
No, okay.
But it's to the commissioners. He has to
You're right,
submit
he
it.
has.
It's to us, if you look through the letters too.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's telling us that he's done a great
Right,
job.
yeah, done a
Right.
great job. That takes us back to the homes that are being built out in the county where minds have to refunction on what's being built in the county. Because unless you are a homeowner living out there that owns a business and not commuting to Kansas City or Douglas County, homeowners have no feelings unless they own a business. And that's what needs to be done to me by county appraisers working with the state and with their county commissioners to get this 25% tax reduced to the same thing that a homeowner gets.
That would require a constitutional amendment.
My God, I know that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you told me that. But, you know, two ladies in the south part of the county and I got the roads taken over, okay? I never did get soccer because people didn't have a vision. We've got to start taking care of businesses, and that means to educate people on what a business has to pay. I'd be glad to bring my books in every month to show what I pay to support the community, city, county, the state, the federal government, and the average person would say, I don't give a goddamn. I'm building my $250,000, $500,000 home out here, and I could care less, and I got my big job down there in Kansas City. But that's something you have to adapt to. But it wouldn't hurt for county appraisers to say, you know, we're really screwing business. So why don't we work together? And I know there's nothing that you can promise. See, the homeowner was promised that you vote to screw the business and we'll lower you to 12. And then if you vote to screw the business, we'll lower you to 11.5. And that's an easy sale. That is totally an easy sale. But I think the appraisers ought to do something other than getting commended on doing what they're doing, and to get out and say, let's see if we can get a constitutional, that's a man's job there, and a good woman's job. You got to find somebody that cares about business. So, thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
When you built your business out there, did you get a tax abatement?
Oh, God, no.
When I bought my business, I never got a tax
Oh, no.
abatement.
Don't give you tax abatement.
But if you notice the new industrial park out there, 10-year tax abatement.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
10 years.
10 years.
Can you imagine how far that would go in paying for your business that you put up?
Yep. So, you're right, Bob. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you, Bob.
Do we really want to listen to the Port Authority?
This is,
I guess so.
this is your request.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Did we invite the Port Authority?
No?
I believe we have a representative here.
Yes, we have a representative here.
Are you on the board of the Port Authority?
No.
You're not, but you're the
He goes to all the
representative.
meetings.
I serve as the chairman of their industrial spec building.
Yep. Why did I have included in my packet something for the Leavenworth County Historical?
That was in the
letter I
packet,
got.
that was just a letter they
That's
sent
just
to
a-
the board.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just what they're proposing for.
They're gonna be asking after the first of the
after
year when the
first
new
year,
budget
when
year
the budget kicks
Ooh,
in.
after the first of the year.
New budget, in the
No,
new
it's-
budget year.
It's gotta be after the first of the year.
They have until,
Love
We can't approve it now and then get the money later.
Shoot, I sort of want to go over the letters. But that's all right,
That evening,
after the first of the year.
Yeah,
Okay, Port Authority.
just warning us.
Just warning us. Well, there's some parts, but on that letter, just to pass on, what is the city of Leavenworth doing? Whenever this comes up, it needs to be, well, what did you get from the city of Leavenworth?
Well, we tried,
We tried.
yeah.
That's no good.
Can't help it, I can't make the city give them any money.
Well,
But that's what I've heard before, is
I
they
guess they
tried.
can leave here and say, well, we tried. City of Leavenworth ought to be giving something to these entities, and I know they do in some cases, but Leavenworth County Port Authority. As you went through your packet to read, as of 2017, it shows that the county has given $3,122,543. Is that,
that's to the best of our knowledge. There were a few years where we couldn't find anything,
Yes.
but, yes, those are the numbers we verified.
in the city of Leavenworth, who is a joint participant in this, right? According to the resolution that was drawn up and the agreement,
The agreement from
has given
1960.
$15,974. Well, that sounds sort of in proportion, doesn't it? Should have done a proportion on that.
Where are you getting all these figures there?
Well, that was in, did they all get this?
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Yeah. It's in a big, I'll give you this one.
No, that's all right. I just was curious on where you got those figures at. I remember the figures from past, but I don't remember the exact figures. I
Yeah, well, the-
I remember that the city of Leavenworth gave seed money to start it,
Yeah.
and that's about all.
But, you know, seed money to start something, that's, when you plant the seed, then you gotta come back and cultivate it later and, you know.
Fertilize.
Fertilize it, yeah. So, that's what city hadn't been doing.
Haven't been putting no fertilizer on
No. So I looked into the history, you know, we started discussing this on January of this year. And on each time it's come up, there's been the statement that, well, the city council is, or commission, I guess they are, has not had a time to look it over. And then the last one, the mayor wasn't gonna be there. Of course, there's 4 others. If you're not here, we do something, don't we?
it. Yes,
Yeah. So,
may not like it, but you do something.
well, I don't think we've ever done too much that you didn't like.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I was just giving you a hard time.
Hard times are good, unless it's a depression.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I think, and it was, it had a suggestion of the 3 things we could do. And that came from council. Leave it alone, and we just keep paying the bill. I don't like that at all. Do you like that? Leave it alone?
No, I think, actually, I really think there needs to be That's what I was expecting today when I saw this on the agenda. I expected to see the board of directors, or at least the chairman, here to answer questions and discuss things, like a work session part, if we're going to have a discussion, but we don't have any board members here.
And nobody from the city. Anybody here from the city of Leavenworth? You representing the city of Leavenworth now?
Just Lansing.
Just Lansing.
We've got Lansing and Tonganoxie represented.
Lansing and Tonganoxie. Okay. And they're not a participant to the agreement.
They're here every meeting.
I think back in January, this was presented to the Leavenworth County Port Authority, that the frustration of the county at that time with the agreement. And it was discussed at a Port Authority meeting, and what they determined was that really this agreement is between the city and the county. It's not between the Port Authority, the city, and the county. So that any issues with that original agreement, or any changes to that original agreement, need to happen between the city and the county. And that was the discussion. That's what was, and that's probably why you don't see them here today, because this really is a issue between the city and the county. The city has been provided with the last proposal that this board approved back in July. The discussion did start in January, by the way. The county came up with a document that we provided back in July to the city. They've yet to take action on it. They've discussed it in one meeting and said they needed more time, and that's what instigated this conversation. Commissioner Klimp asked to give until the first of the month, basically, for them a chance to respond. We went past that date. Now, in their defense, they did not have a meeting between that last meeting when you gave them the deadline. They haven't met since then. So it was asked to be put on the agenda. It's on the agenda. The documentation as far as any communication back and forth was asked last meeting. Commissioner Klimp asked for us to include that. I've included that as well. That's where we're at today.
The other options were stay in, modify the current operating agreement, and add representation from the other cities in the county. Stay in and quit providing funding was the third one, and that to me is not a good one. Withdraw and allow the city to take over. That is not, to me, a good one. I think the withdraw and dissolve the Leavenworth County Port Authority and divide the assets. And there's a legal procedure. I guess we have to go through to do that. That would be my recommendation, because now to go out and involve the rest of the cities, that is going to be an endeavor. Now, we're just as much as at fault. Somebody in the county or the city knew the city wasn't participating financially. Somebody, yeah, we'll overlook it. Well, you can't overlook for $3 million. That's really overlooking. So to go to Lansing and say that you're going to have to pay this amount. Tonganoxie, you're going to have to pay this amount. Lansing, you're going to have to pay this amount. Appraiser, rather. City of Leavenworth, now we got to get an agreement that everybody's going to pay that amount. So the LCDC can do the same as the Port Authority, almost to the nth. Now, they may have to come to us to ask for money, but they're sitting there right now with $500,000 plus. And the $500,000 plus can be handled many ways. The city would want half. You know, I can see that lawsuit coming out. They're entitled to half. Well, they only paid, what, how much was that? 15,000, and we paid $3 million. So I can understand how they'd want half. They would want the property also, or at least half of the property. I don't know how much is left. What, 2 lots, 3 lots?
Oh, no, there's lots. There's quite a bit in Tongi.
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
So the city would want.
Well, actually, the new industrial park. we
No.
paid half.
No, that's City of Leavenworth.
That's City of Leavenworth.
But the Gary Carlson.
Garrett Carlson.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
there's some lots in there.
Yeah.
There's a
There's
couple
lots in
there. But I think there's quite a bit in Tonganoxie.
So the City of Leavenworth would want half of that. So it'd be an interesting, you know, because they are half the program, and they appoint.
What do you mean half? Where would the other half go?
We did half, they'd get half. You figure out the financial.
On the money.
On the money and the land. What are you gonna do with the land? That's part of the agreement. They didn't just gonna sit there in limbo. Now, I guess we could give that, if we get the city of Leavenworth to agree with it, we give that to the LCDC, and we could give the $500,000 to the LCDC and say, here's your money for 2 years.
And we could do that?
Oh, I'm sure we can do that. Can we not do that? If the city agrees now.
Mr. Chairman, members of this commission, good morning. The statutes contemplate that upon the dissolution of the Port Authority, the division of assets would be reached by agreement. The division between the city and the counties respectively would be somewhere between 100% and 0%. In other words, it'd have to be reached by agreement. At the same time, that consent could be embodied by a transfer of the assets to another entity such as Leavenworth County Development Corporation.
So
Now, David, if you could answer a question. If we are able to transfer to the Leavenworth County Development Corporation, can the Leavenworth County Development Corporation then pass some of the money back to the Leavenworth County Port Authority?
There would not be a Leavenworth County Port Authority for those funds to be transferred to.
So they would have to go to the state and develop a new Leavenworth County Port Authority.
If the Port Authority created in 1969 is dissolved, a new Port Authority for Leavenworth County would have to be approved by the state legislature.
Right.
So what do we gain by having the Port Authority that couldn't be gained by LCDC and the county working together? What
Mr. Chairman, members of this commission, state statutes grant you a wide array of economic development tools, the Port Authority being one of those many tools. You also have inherent powers with respect to formulating plans for the promotion of economic development. The Port Authority, again, is merely one tool that you have available to you. It has been in existence since 1969. The county and the city formed it. The statutes contemplate that the city and the county can dissolve it.
So I guess we're really not, what are we losing if we remove the Port Authority?
Well, the Port Authority owns property, and they can offer incentives on that property to sell it at less than
LCDC could do that, could they not?
I don't think so.
Actually, the LCDC has the ability to offer more incentives once they own it.
You were just sort of against incentives, weren't you?
No.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry. Neither the Port Authority nor the LCDC can provide tax incentives. Only the taxing entities can do that. But what the LCDC can sell the property for or give it away, as can the Port Authority now. I think there's some legislation that was changed recently to allow for that. But the Port Authority has some powers enabled by legislation that the LCDC doesn't have, but those powers are also enabled to the taxing entities in the county that usually have to approve them anyways. I think the Port Authority originally was contemplated, they had the ability to levy taxes. That failed. That's why the funding has to come from the county. They have the ability to issue debt. They have not done so in the past that I'm aware of. So really, I'm not aware of anything that they can do that the LCDC can't, other than if they do a project, they can provide their tax exemption to that project. The cities have the same authority through the industrial bonds. There's the LCDC can do, in my mind, pretty much everything the Port Authority can do.
So, and as of right now, we pay them
0.03 mils.
Well, we levy approximately $250,000 a year for economic development. That money goes to the LCDC either directly or as a pass-through through the Port Authority. The Port Authority then keeps whatever the LCDC didn't need for their budget, the Port Authority keeps and puts into an account that they're building up for future projects think there's about $500,000 in that account currently.
Am I mistaken, or does the city of Leavenworth have an economic development director?
The city of Leavenworth and the city of Lansing both have somebody whose title is for economic
So
development.
basically, that's why probably both of them are not putting any money in. They've already got their directors, and they're already doing their thing.
Well, the cities do fund the LCDC, with the exception of Appraiser. I believe this year they've pulled out of that, funding that. But the other cities do fund the LCDC. We are the only entity that currently funds the Port Authority.
So my thought, and my suggestion is we disband the Port Authority. It has, other than the fact they keep $50,000 and put in their fund.
I guess what I would like to see is, you're already making lists and stuff, see what the advantage is to have the Port Authority, see what the disadvantage is to Leavenworth County. Is there a disadvantage? Is there an advantage to having the Port Authority?
Is that a complicated issue? I thought he just presented them, but that's all right.
Yeah, the advantages and disadvantages, I can tell you, I mean, we can get together the legislation that enables the Port Authority and therefore grants them their powers. We can provide that to you. The disadvantages, I'm not aware of any other than what Commissioner Klemp has brought up with the disagreement in the agreement between the city and the county. That's not a problem that we have with the Port Authority. It's a disagreement between us and the city. So I'm not aware of any disadvantages for having the Port Authority or advantages. I can just tell you the powers of the Port Authority.
I'd just like to see some of the bureaucracy removed. What do we need it for? How many people on the Port Authority? 3, 4, 5?
5.
5. Now you come up with another board, and I constantly get questions of what's the Port Authority's interest? And you look at who the board members are, and look out throughout all the years, how many times. And one of the members of the LCDC left and said, and he was with the banking industry in the south end of the county. He said, it'd be nice to get some members from the outside that are not real estate and not bankers and maybe that's the only people interested in moving the county forward with businesses. I don't know. But there has to be something to keep a bureaucracy, just to give them $50,000 a year to add to their funds so in the future they could do, when it can be done with the LCDC, and you don't have to worry about coming up with a 5-member board, and you don't have to have the situation of, well, the city of Leavenworth has postponed this meeting. They've taken it off their list of things to discuss, and they've moved it to the 18th of September, and then they've removed it off the 18th of September, and they'll discuss it on, well, they can't discuss it on that day. That's the way city government runs. I mean, as I say, we brought it up in January. We ought to have this resolved within 30 days. You don't need 30 years. So it's just a point that I think it's time to disband it. What does it do? It doesn't do anything that we can't do without it. And then we can concentrate on the LCDC, working with them to get them to go forward and get are you operating through LCDC? Look at there. Spec buildings, right?
The spec building program does both LCDC and the Leavenworth County Port Authority. They are your industrial economic development tool best for Leavenworth County.
But we're the only one in there with tools. The city isn't in there with a tool. They're
yes and no.
Yeah.
The history teaches us that this issue has come up before.
Yep.
And in the original years, in 1969, after 1981, when LAD was formed, the issue of equal distribution between the communities was brought up. And as a result, LCDC, a part of the economic development component, developed a formula that is used throughout the county where all cities contribute a formula, based on a formula, to the industrial economic development of Leavenworth County. Because of the tradition of the Leavenworth County Port Authority, most of the county's contribution stayed with the Port Authority. The other entities went to LCDC. So you are correct that they did not contribute to the Port Authority, but they did contribute to industrial economic development in Leavenworth County over the years. So those of us that participate in it on a regular basis, we are one entity. We are one of two acting port authorities in the state of Kansas. It is a unique tool. It's not a tool that has comparisons, but it brought a proud tradition to Leavenworth County. It's on its 4th and 5th industrial park development over the history of the Port Authority and LCDC. In our county, our tax base represents 72% of it represents residential real estate. That's the highest in the state of Kansas. Every dollar that you raise, every dollar that the city's raised, 72 cents goes on the shoulders of the residential homeowner. We need to balance that. Look at our surrounding counties. Wyandotte County is 50-50 between residential and commercial.
But do we need the Port Authority to help balance that?
We need an industrial development group to do that, whether it be the Port Authority or just LCDC or the combination of the two. That's what's being debated here.
Right.
And I understand and appreciate the approach that you're taking to this, but I also want to respect and honor the tradition of the King's Law. Over 50 years next year will be the 50th anniversary of the Port Authority. These teams work very closely together. One of the advantages you have is you get to appoint the members to the board of Leavenworth County.
When you say you, who are you talking about?
County commissioners in the city of Leavenworth.
Yes.
LCDC, you don't get to do that. You would lose that authority by disbanding the Port Authority. Second of all, you're getting free expertise on the Leavenworth County Port Authority board. There's 5 members. All of them are business people. They represent a broad spectrum, and they contribute their time and expertise to Leavenworth County at no charge.
Except they have $500,000 sitting there.
They have $500,000. Mr. Clint, you know that if we build a 40,000 square foot spec building, which we should be doing several of those, that's a $4 million project, and $500,000 won't get it done. If we really are serious about solving the problems of industrial development in Leavenworth County, we need to be approaching you, whether it be through LCDC, Leavenworth County Port Authority, or both, to help us fund these spec buildings so we can bring the industrial base to Leavenworth County and help improve and take the burden off of our residential taxpayers to do that. I understand the arguments, and I understand where you're coming from. I appreciate the research that you're doing. I'm just trying to bring you some additional considerations as you contemplate this particular issue.
But you're not removing the city and the county situation. See, you're totally not removing it. I don't think you'll ever remove it unless we continue supporting way more than the rest. And everybody says, well, that's what the county's here for. Mental health, that's what the county's here for. See?
Good point, and I understand that, and I don't think it's within the powers of the Port Authority or LCDC to solve that particular problem.
No.
We'd be glad to participate and be involved in that particular process. But also, as we go out and recruit industry into Leavenworth County, there's a difference between being able to say to a prospect, we can do this, and we need to go check and see if we can get this. If we don't have the resources available to us at our discretion, when I say our discretion, I'm talking the Port Authority and LCDC as a combined group, if they don't have those at their discretion, they cannot commit to a prospect to bring them into Leavenworth County. They can come and ask, and they may get it and it may not, and that takes time, and they're willing to do that. But the better approach would be to invest, whether it be systematically year after year as they accumulate funds, or a one-time request to come. And that puts an extreme financial burden on those requests to the entities in which it is brought to do that. It has been, the history teaches us it's better to do a systematic growth over time. That's why there's $500,000 sitting there.
I understand that.
If they sell some of the lots, there will be more.
Right.
And there is a lot of activity with 2 new industrial parks. And by the way, thank you for your contribution in both of those industrial parks. There's a lot of interest. We have one prospect right now that's looking at buying one entire industrial park. So it's important that they have the resources to do that. One of the things that we have learned over the years, the many years, the almost 50 years of existence, that we can accomplish more as a county if all of our communities work together than if we segment off individually. And the reason I say that is none of us are big enough by ourselves to pull some of these bigger tasks off. But collectively, we can do that. That's how a small town of Tonganoxie can buy the ground and develop it and have an industrial park. It's because of the cooperative work that you all represented and what they represented. We know from working with all of our communities that we can accomplish more as a group. I've had the pleasure of working on this industrial spec building. I had some fantastic expertise brought to the table because I used the resources of all of our communities to do that. If you disband that, you may or may not, I don't know, disband that opportunity to do that. Money is important. I appreciate it. But expertise is also important. And we're starting to benefit from our efforts over the years. That's why Leavenworth and Lansing have their own industrial development directors, because they know the value of having an economic director. They've seen it work. They've seen it put in that particular direction.
Why wouldn't the LCDC have that? Are you saying they're not as, cannot be as much of an expert?
They can be. They can be. Why, you know, we can have the board of LCDC, and we can have the other 5 board members from the Port Authority put together. It makes a nice screening process to make sure that we do things diligently and appropriately. We try to bring all expertise together from all sources. We work together good as a team, as groups, in that particular regard. Can we do it without it? If you say the Port Authority is done, we'll have to adapt.
Would that be
your decisions.
Would that be a hard adaptation? No. But the same people are still here in the community.
You're right. It can be done, but do we really need to do it? And there's a difference between what we can do and what we should do.
Well, you know, let's go back to Tyson, okay?
Okay.
That was handled improperly.
I won't disagree with you on that.
Totally improperly. Because nobody had, do you know what, to tell the state, you're not coming into our county to get recognition. There is a proper procedure to go through planning and zoning. Did they go through LCDC? And did they go through the Port Authority? And did they go through representatives? Oh yeah, we're in favor of it. And then all of a sudden, you get a little bit of a disagreement, and the group says, we don't want it, and everybody says, well, we don't want it. But there was a proper procedure, and that's what we don't use sometimes to make things function. I think if the Port Authority is gone, you've got different people appointing, and surely you're going to appoint somebody, hopefully, that is able to look at the whole picture. Is Tonganoxie going to be in favor of helping Lansing with a big, with an industrial situation that comes in? Well, they should be able to. We gave them $5 million, didn't we? The county did. So we've been willing to give up our money. So are people able to work together to understand? When I go to the LCDC meetings and the Port Authority, it seems like everybody's sort of in agreement and congenial. There's no, there may be a little disagreement at times, but I think that it would continue. And I just don't like another layer that we have to deal with. We, the county, you know, LAD, who's one of the members that started LAD? Right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But when you're having these little debates over nothing, City of Leavenworth, have your stupid meeting and say, yeah, we want to be a participant. Don't say, well, let's wait till after the first of the year and we'll keep pushing it back till the first of the year, and we get two people gone that may have a different agenda, and then the Port Authority will continue for the next 50 years.
Lloyd, thank you for sharing those comments. I'd like to go back to Tyson.
Right.
I would like to tell you that we learned a lot of things from that experience. Was it handled perfectly?
God, no.
I cannot say that.
Well, I can.
I won't support that. But did we learn from it? We make mistakes, we try to learn from them and not repeat those mistakes again. That was the first Golden Ring project that Leavenworth County has ever had.
And we'll never have another.
Maybe
No,
not.
no. Nobody's going to go through that. Nobody, no big company is going to go through that.
Well, we certainly have a mark against us in this particular area.
Yeah.
I
So,
understand that. There still may be opportunities when opportunities come.
yeah. But our,
There is a difference, you know, like you said, we, LCDC, and the Port Authority can't decide the decision between Leavenworth County
That's right.
and Leavenworth City. Those two, that's going to have to be decided between the two of you. But don't hold hostage the industrial development in Leavenworth County as a result. If you dissolve the Port Authority, let's hear about where the funding is going to come from. I want to do more for Leavenworth County industrial development in Leavenworth. I want to spur this on. I want it to grow. In order to do that, funding is going to be one of those things. I would love to see us be in a position like we used to be when LCDC and the Port Authority were very active, is having multiple spec buildings under construction and up for lease and that type of thing. We're to the point where we need to start going past the 10,000 square foot building and start going to the 40,000, or possibly even outsiders have talked to us about 100,000 square foot spec buildings in Leavenworth County. I would love to be able to do that, but it's going to be difficult for you, and it's not going to be difficult for me to come ask for the money, but it's going to be difficult for you to come up with $3.5 million out of disposable tax dollars in a given budget year.
how would the Port Authority come up with $3 million?
We've got to ask the parties involved for the money. That's where all of our money comes from.
And we can't even get the city to say, we want to be a participant. We give half of the designees to the Port Authority. We vote on all of it with you, the county, and we cannot get them to have a meeting to say, now,
There's two approaches that you can use. One is the systematic growth of funds from the Port Authority, and the one is the project funds. Where we have an identified project, we'll take the industrial part. I believe the city of Leavenworth contributed significant dollars to the Leavenworth Industrial Park. So did the county. A joint effort was done on that particular experience. It was made available by the sales tax revenue that was provided by the voters of Leavenworth County, and it was good for the economic development, and it's going to produce results. Now that we have the site prepared and ready to go, the next thing is the buildings. We're going to work at this stage we have a site, but we do not have buildings. The prospect of getting more industrial into Leavenworth County is if we have buildings. We need to build buildings. We need $4 million, or we need some solid backing financially, so the Port Authority can go out and borrow the funds and be reassured of their ability to service the debt while they build the building and get it occupied. And talking of dissolving it makes it more difficult for us to achieve that, particularly with local lenders in that particular regard. So we are here to help. We're here to do what we can. We understand, or at least I understand, what you're going through. I see your point of view. I understand your point of view. It's not illogical. It's not irrational. I get it. But it also doesn't respect the history from which we have come from in Leavenworth County. Yes, we'll lose it, but it's not going to hurt us to have it. So can we do it? Yes. Should we do it? In my personal opinion only, no, we should not dissolve Leavenworth County Port Authority. Instead of having these kinds of conversations, we need to get not only with the county, but with the city and start talking about what's the next level.
Dan, you hit it again. To get together with the city. You can't get together with the city.
I disagree.
What?
I've had good success with the city.
Well, gee, I'm glad you do, but you're not elected up here. They are elected, okay? I was appointed, basically, okay? And every time there's somebody running, well, we're going to work with the city of Leavenworth, and we're going to work with Lansing, we're going to work with Tonganoxie, and we're going to have this congeniality. It doesn't work that way. This is a very divisive community. Because Lansing, they want an industrial park. We didn't give them $5 million. We didn't give BOCC $5 million. Now we gave them what, I don't know how many million for the road. They just don't, it doesn't work that way. Lansing still remembers and Leavenworth still remembers the country club and the dump site. Okay, Leavenworth dumped their trash out there, Lansing annexed, and there's not a one of them that has been around long enough to know the history of why we don't get along. Not a one of them. Lansing says, the heck with Leavenworth, Leavenworth says, the heck with Lansing. They debate over the timing of the lights at intersections. You know, because more traffic this way, more traffic that way. We gave them $5 million. We gave Tonganoxie $5 million, which adds up to what? $18 million, counting County Road 1. Nothing's been done down there. Maybe for that amount of money, we could have got State Highway 5 developed. And that would have been an asset. Now Tonganoxie's moving ahead, and that's good. But you're thinking that the communities can work together. I'm trying to remove that aspect. They're not going to work together. Now, whenever who gets elected in 1 and 2, the statement's out, yeah, now we'll be able to work together. There's nobody in this community that has more interest for the city of Leavenworth than me. And society does not understand that. I have not had the money to put into millions into this community like some people have, but I've put in more time and effort than anybody. My family, throughout the history, they weren't non-doers. We did the first bond issue for the school district. You know, it's always a debate between Lansing, Leavenworth, Tonganoxie. BOCC they just go ahead, you know, God, I'd like to give them $5 million just for the heck of it. We don't want to save money on Eisenhower Complex. We don't want to save $4 million. There's your money right there. You're talking about $4 million building. We don't have to build the Eisenhower tomorrow. It's not going to affect a soul. So why don't we save $4 million? Well, who cares? It's just $4 million. Go out and borrow. This is not a business. This is a punitive action to the taxpayer, because if we're going to go do it and borrow money, then we're not going to do $4 million worth of roads, which are 12 to 20 million miles of roads. So, you know, you can just go back and forth. It all has to do with Leavenworth and the county. Can we get along? I don't know. You want to wait after the first of the year? When you get these new ones in there, they'll get along with City of Leavenworth, yeah. And we'll still continue to pay the bill. So I appreciate your input. I appreciate you on that committee that you're on to build a spec building. You put in a lot of effort, and it's been enjoyable seeing the message traffic that goes through. You know, this is 24/7 up here. And it's time for me to get out of this 24/7. So I can watch how other people are going to handle it. And I do not see any handling between the communities being able to work together. They can work good by themselves, and maybe they need to start working by themselves, totally. I don't like outside inputs that show that, well, I'm not going to talk on that subject. Been here for 80 years. Family got here in 1874. I don't see a thing that we ever got from the community, and we've always given. We've always given. And that's what makes you love a community. Not the taking, the giving. And I've said this about Halloween. I love the kids. Every one of them said thank you. One to one. But adults, they don't say thank you. It's give me more. I want more. So it boils down to Leavenworth City and the county. Do we want to continue to operate this, or do we want to look at the avenue, not the avenues, the avenue to resolve it, get out of it, and dissolve how the property is going to be? And that'll take 5-10 years, you know, lawsuits, because I say right today, city, you know, give it all to the LCDC. Let LCDC take the money, take the land. They got a couple of years to do it because they got $500,000 there. And if they need to do a spec building, they come to the county, and then we go to the city and say, hey, this is in your community. And we go to the rest of the communities and say, we'd like for you to participate so we can go out and build this spec building. So if there's nobody else, that's simple. You know, we just throw this in a trash can, and 10 years from now, they'll still be discussing something. So I think we need.
If the city of Leavenworth would match our funds, you'd be okay with the Port Authority?
Yeah, but how long you want to wait for them to make that commitment?
I'm just asking the question. I don't know.
Does that mean they go back and you know, pay half of that $3 million? No, that doesn't mean that.
No, you're not.
No,
we're not like the state of Kansas. I don't think we can do a retroactive tax.
No, you could ask them for the money. You don't do a retroactive tax.
But it'd be retroactive.
Yeah, would I be happy? Yeah, but you know, I'd like to see it done within 30 days. That they're going to have a meeting, have a special meeting. You know, I'll get razzed over this. We've already gone, what, hour and 40 minutes talking about something that will never get resolved. Now, maybe he's a specialist in being able to talk to the city. I don't know.
I've had enough city council meetings.
But I really don't want to see our administrator get together with their manager. I don't like that. Because then we don't know really what they're talking about. That's when the city council comes in here and sits down, and we talk about and how we're going to resolve it, and they make it right then. Well, this is what we're going to go back to our first meeting, if they can do it in one meeting, and we're going to move that we are a participant, and this is what we're going to do. And we'll do it on the next budget year, because you know they have budgeted every cent and every dime. They couldn't hold off on a $1.4 million ladder truck. We need a ladder truck at each fire station, and then they're going to remodel the fire station number 3. See, maybe you don't look at that stuff. I do. I look at I love getting their minutes. I love talking to their people, Lansing, Tonganoxie, to see what they're doing. There's always somebody that's willing to talk about what their city is doing. And their school districts. 5 superintendents of schools. Ridiculous. And I look at all that, and I've computed this. Somebody can go out and get Leavenworth to come in and within 30 days and say, yes, we're going to be an equal participant. We've discovered the error that Leavenworth made city and county. We won't bring in, doing away with the 2 stations over here for police and police and sheriff. That ought to be done. You can go on and on. So, I would like to get out of it. If you want to try.
Well, I just, without doing a knee-jerk reaction here about the money and the property, what happens to that? And how do you legally divide it up? And what are the legal issues here?
There are no legal issues.
Well, I bet there will be.
Well, it depends. And if the city of Leavenworth says we want all the money and all the land, take it. That's not a knee-jerk. I don't want to see this group continue to talk with the city of Leavenworth over the Port Authority that they've not been a participant of.
I would be against giving all the money to the city of Leavenworth.
Now you've got a debate.
Because it was collected from the taxpayers from all over the
There
county.
you go, then you tell the city 50-50. Because they're the biggest participant, the city of Leavenworth.
But you still got the property issues. We've got property in Tonganoxie.
Okay, 50-50. Tonganoxie doesn't deserve it.
It's in their city.
It doesn't matter. They didn't pay for it, did they?
Taxes collected down there probably helped pay for it.
Oh, God. I hear that when somebody talks about their house, and I'd love to show you my taxes, and I don't get a thing for it, except, well, why are you thinking that far ahead? You know? So.
Well, I just don't want to see us get into a bunch of legal issues here, and
it started January the 10th.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, if you're going to dissolve it or pull out, we need to have legal advice to make sure that everything's done properly so we don't end up in court.
Do you, would you like for us to get a legal opinion without going to the Attorney General, because, you know, he's...
No, election's over, they probably have time to do that.
You think David can come up with that, or?
Well, I'm sure he can.
How about within 2 weeks?
I'd say
You need that long, or you just want
Commissioners,
to?
I could provide you your options, but I think, quite frankly, you have them right now. I think Mr. Lawfrey's memorandum to you outlines the various options you have, and again, they range from the status quo to the dissolution and division of assets. I would like to stress that it does not appear that it's the intent of this board to abandon the concept of assisting and encouraging economic development in the county. It's merely a consideration of how to best do so. With that in mind, if this board would like, Mr. Lawfrey and I can confer, look at other aspects of this, and be back within 2 weeks to outline perhaps the legal procedures that could be involved if the board wished to pursue the dissolution of the Port Authority.
Does that satisfy you?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know if I can be here that day, so,
Commissioner,
although I'm not the mayor, am I?
Commissioner Klemp, I will personally come to your residence and make certain that you attend that
Or we
meeting.
can have Linda come by and pick him up.
Yeah.
One way or the other, Commissioner, you'll be
Very
present.
good. And we can invite everybody to be here to listen to our dissertation. And will the city show
Will
up?
there be a city meeting between now and then?
Well, I don't know. They got to study.
Yeah.
Will be, yes.
You know,
They'll have one tonight.
if it was serious, if they were serious, somewhere they need to have, oh yeah, I'll tell you, if it was serious and they were going to do their fire station switch that they did many years ago, they would have a special meeting.
Is there a meeting tonight with elections? Okay. Are you going to attend city commission meeting?
City commission meeting?
Yeah, will you be attending that tonight?
I haven't been invited.
It's open to the public.
Well, I like to be invited to the city commission because they always say, do you have something you want to say? And, well, I guess I could go and say, are you going to be able to make a decision on Port Authority? Or are you going to keep hiding behind council meetings? So, okay, 2 weeks you can come up with it. Is that good with you? No, don't say yes when you want to.
No.
Okay.
I would like to ask one question on these buildings you're are proposing to build. Will these be built on ground that you purchase, or will these be built in the industrial park?
There's no limitation on where they're going to be located other than they have to be in Leavenworth County. So they could be in the industrial parks, but they could be in other properties located in Leavenworth County.
Yeah.
So it basically would have to purchase more property if they were built outside the industrial parks.
The program is designed for new buildings. So, if a particular participant already owns the ground, they don't have to purchase it, obviously. But it would be a new building that is being built. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
It'd be a part of the project.
I can see problems already with it, but that's not for me to discuss here now.
Well, somebody would say, why are you buying land? You got an industrial park. But that doesn't matter.
No.
Somebody's got the money to buy the land, build the building, and be a part of this, then they can do that. So, okay.
And
Yes, sir.
You made the comment that Appraiser wasn't getting $5 million for their industrial park. Appraiser don't want an industrial park.
Man, I bet they don't.
I will pass that on to the Baser City Council tomorrow night that you're willing to give them some money.
No, I want to give Lansing money for the roundabout.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Is that all right with you? If we can vote to give you some money for the roundabout?
It's being discussed right now by the city council.
Or the tube that's further down. We could do that, and you could just do your thing.
Part of the project.
Yep, part of the project, see. And that's in the community, and so they got.
Basically gonna be wanting some roundabouts too.
Well, that's all right.
At the
Parallel.
At the Mark meeting that you had to leave early on, and we discussed the roundabouts, and I thought.
Talking about 6 months ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was leaving,
I was
and
gonna
I
say that one
thought,
last
why was
meeting-
I the only one asking the questions about roundabouts? Why? Because we don't have any. Why?
Well, we do,
Because
but-
everybody else down in Kansas City has roundabouts, multiple roundabouts. Everywhere I go down there, you find a roundabout.
Yeah, but they have a different educational system. Their people are educated enough to be able to go through a roundabout.
Really,
Somebody's-
it's not hard to go through a roundabout to me.
No, I agree with that. So, okay. You want to do you have a list of people that you want to formally invite? Or do you want to take it that far that they get the minutes and they can show up if they want to show up?
Well, I usually send out to the administrators if we're discussing something like this.
Okay.
If we're discussing specifically for something on Leavenworth, I let Paul know that we're discussing it.
Okay.
So I will let
Very
them know
good.
it's going to be on the agenda, and they do get copies of our agendas.
And if they don't show up, we'll know that either the administrator of that government didn't pass it on, or they just didn't think it was important. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, council and administrator. Dan, I thank you for your time and effort that you put in on the project.
Thank you for your service.
So, are we through with Port Authority?
I think we are.
Okay.
You notice what diesel fuel and gasoline was on these minutes? 9 cents for diesel fuel and 20 cents for gasoline when this was put together.
Yeah,
Port Authority.
9 cents.
9
I
cents for
remember
diesel.
paying,
Is that right?
yeah.
It was in the county commission meeting.
When I was in college, I remember
Approved the bid.
paying
I
that
thought
for-
9 cents for diesel fuel and 20 cents for gasoline.
Isn't that amazing? Fill up on $1 and drive all week. Okay. Right-of-way acquisitions on PRP dust/dust abatement projects.
Last week, you asked if we could, you gave us a deadline of the first of the year to finish all the right-of-way acquisitions for any ongoing projects that were either dust abatement or the Phase 1 projects. I asked Mr. Luchin to come in today to respond to that request
Okay.
and provide any other information that
I
the
still
board may want.
think somewhere in the future, there ought to be a person on that road group rather than the county. I mean, we had.
Well, they do have, when they get the initial sign up, that they would be willing to donate.
When we did that petition, do you realize the three of us had to go to 3,000 people, I think the number was we had to come up with? 3,000 people we had to go to.
In 73?
Yeah.
For townships to
Yeah.
take county road system?
Yeah. So, yes, sir.
So I was informed last week that the board desires to have the PRP right-of-way wrapped up by the end of the year. Since I was told that, we have sent out approximately 44 easements to residents. We have about 19 left. We are waiting to get those from the surveyor. Once we get those will be processed and sent out. So that will be everything that needs to be sent out. There's about 63 total on the remaining PRP projects. So we will have them complete, sent out with an end of the year deadline.
Now, my question is, see, how many of these are out of town? Wait a minute, Dan, why am I thinking of that?
What do you
See,
mean by that?
see where my brain has gone?
think
How many
owner
are out of
lives out of
town, people
state?
that own land that live out of town? Any of them?
Yeah, I'm sure there are. I could get you
Yeah.
that number. I don't have.
Well,
it
I'm
off
just
the top
sort of
my head,
curious.
But yeah.
There
we
is
have
some
out
on
of
Donahue.
And did
there's
you give
owners
them,
out of Leavenworth County, and there's owners probably out of.
did you
the
give them a
state.
cutoff date?
The end of the year.
The end of the year?
December 31st.
You can't make up your mind by the end of the year. That's a little extensive because I get things all the time. If you're going to go to a meeting, RSVP. Get it all the time.
Mhm.
And
Right here, we got this. Says RSVP by November the
9th.
9th.
Yep. Well, I RSVP'd yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I'm not giving up a Blackhawk.
On the PRP,
Are you
you
gonna
got
go on the
174th on
right?
there, south of State?
That one's completed, yes. Between Evans and State Avenue.
Yeah.
It's now on the dust abatement list.
No, dust abatement, that's 174 from Metro to Kansas.
Phase 2 of the dust abatement has 174th Street from Evans to 2440.
You don't have any roads in there, do you?
No.
Why wouldn't it have been on the PRP? Because they gave the right of way.
Because we were directed by the board to move, once all right-of-way was donated, to move them from PRP to dust abatement.
I thought we moved all PRP roads to dust abatement standards.
Right, upon donation of all the right-of-way.
But then we moved all PRP roads to the top to get them off the list. Correct?
Upon donation of the right-of-way.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they gave the
So,
donation.
So Donahue, if you have the list of projects,
I do.
Donahue on Phase 2, Donahue Road, 155th to 167th, that was a PRP. 174th, Evans to 2440, that was a PRP. Both of those we have obtained all the right-of-way, so they moved over to the dust abatement list.
But when we moved to standard we moved them to the top of the list to get them knocked out. The PRPs, get all the PRPs knocked out.
Well, I don't know if we moved them to the...
Upon donation, am I mistaken? It was upon donation of the right-of-way, then they moved to the...
Moved to the PRP, and they received top priority.
Yeah,
I think
upon
that was the
donation of the
discussion,
right-of-way.
upon donation of the right-of-way.
And so far, those are the only two that have donated all, and they've moved over to the dust abatement list.
Now, his question is,
But they're
they
in
moved
phase
to the
2.
top of the list.
Well, Phase 1, the consultant had Phase 1 pretty much ready to submit field check plans to our office. So instead of delaying Phase 1, waiting for those two to be added, that would have delayed getting plans reviewed.
But there is no plans on these, on 174th.
Yeah, they're part of the dust abatement program now.
What plans would we be? We're going to pave it in place.
Right, the part of that, that's the part of the deficiency review.
Mm-hmm.
They got added into that.
Okay, that's the only plan, the only thing we have is a deficiency review.
And drawings for the contractors to be able to bid on, bid documents.
So how many years are we gonna mess around with this before we got to start paving roads?
We should have phase 1 done by springtime and ready to bid. And hopefully phase 2 will roll in right behind that,
This year?
2019.
Okay.
Determine exactly where all the funding will come from, and then that'll be up to the
Well,
board.
the townships have got quite a bit of money in their RIF and TIF and their funds.
Mhm. Yep, we're using that money as
Well,
projects come.
We need to spend it down. You've seen how much we got in some of them townships?
That's,
Sherman Township's got almost $800,000.
yep, they got a lot of money.
I don't want to be accused like the school district and collecting money and holding on to it. This money was collected for these roads. I think we need to spend it.
Yeah, we are. We've spent over $500,000 in RIF money in 2018.
Well, we got a lot more to spend. So we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, say, will we have 10 miles to bid this year?
I would say easily we'll have, upon board approval, phase 1 and phase 2, and possibly even getting into phase 3 and 4.
Sounds good.
Well, yeah, it's all your roads. It should sound,
Well, you got all yours done already.
no, we haven't got back.
You're out looking for roundabouts now.
Dang
You've got
right.
so many roads done.
No, I'm looking for, ditch, gully, no, tubes to put through, instead of roundabouts.
Tubes?
Yeah, down
Drainage.
south of 24, McIntyre, 4H Road. Put a tube in down there. Be interesting if we put it in rather than
Which one are you talking about?
on DeSoto Road.
Oh,
Yeah,
the bridge?
yeah,
D18?
yeah.
Yeah, it needs replaced.
Well, that's safety. But, okay, any more questions for,
No, I just want to make sure we're getting stuff out for bid in the spring so we can.
I think something I just want to make sure we point out, any of the projects that we've sent out for the PRP, we've sent out the request for the donation of the right-of-way. Any of those that we do not receive by the end of the year then are removed from the PRP.
Right.
We're done with those.
Right.
Those people come back in, they have to participate in the new dust abatement program. So I just want to make sure that's it.
Fair enough.
By the end of the year, that's it. We're done with the old
do
PRP
we have
program.
a letter prepared for, what was it, 18 people, 19?
They've already sent out.
Yeah,
how many
we've
did you say,
sent out
40,
approximately
70?
44. We have about 19 left. Yeah, it's just, the letter will be updated for that group of people.
That there will be no, does it state there'll be no
Yeah,
more PRP?
They have a deadline at the end of the year, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Because there's gonna be
and,
somebody come back and say, you know, I didn't get that word.
On the list of PRP, where's 219th stand?
219th, those are the ones, that road is, we're waiting for the last 19 properties from the surveyor. So
Okay.
we've sent out approximately, let's see, so probably about 18 of those have been sent out.
Okay. All right. Just so we got something to bid in the spring when we can get some good prices.
Well, hopefully we'll bid
Get
in
some
the
good
winter.
work scheduling.
We'll bid in the winter so we can start work in the spring, and then on the first phase, then the second phase we'll bid at the end of the spring, hopefully to construct in the summer and keep things moving.
Have they moved McIntyre,
Have they moved it?
the date of completion?
It'll be next year, yes.
Yeah.
It'll be in 2019. I mean, they're still working out there.
We don't know out of the 365 days, approximately is gonna be half a year. Of course, it all depends on the weather, I understand that.
Yeah, we'll have an update. Our monthly report's coming up here in, I
Okay.
think, 2 weeks.
Very good.
Is the utilities all out of the way, or are we still dealing with water?
On
McIntyre.
McIntyre, believe water's complete. They did run in some issues where Westar thought they were moved, but they didn't,
Oh.
so. But I think that's all been resolved. But we'll have an update on all those in 2 weeks for you.
147th looks good in Baysville.
When are they going to open that officially?
I didn't drive through there this week. Joe said the barricades were gone. I know the signage was up. It's striped, signage is up, so it's,
I saw,
if it's not, barricades aren't down yet, it'll be.
on Sunday, I saw a
Just
few.
drive around them
Yeah,
like some
on
other
Sunday, I saw
commissioner
a
I
few
know.
barricades
Yeah.
were up yet, but I didn't.
So, I guess we don't have a ribbon cutting on that?
I don't need a ribbon cutting, you know, that's
You
time and
could
effort.
probably fly in for
I was gonna
that.
say, you could drive through it, and we'd hold the ribbon, you could bust it.
I lost my thrill on Blueberry Hill.
Maybe you could get the Blackhawk to do a fly-in for that.
You know who's flying the Black Hawk? The garrison commander.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You going, Doug?
No, I won't be in town.
Oh.
Yes, you have, before we adjourn, where I guess we're through with you. Do you feel like
Thank you, Dave.
we're through with you, Dave? Or do you want to talk some more?
No, I'm good.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready for follow-ups, or you got something else?
No, the follow-up before we adjourn. Do you have something you want to?
Just went to Tongi City Council meeting last night, and I'll go to Baker's tomorrow night, and
Okay.
make Linwood tonight. Stranger Church, you know, we gave them some money. They're
Yeah.
having another fundraiser on the 13th. You know, they have the dinners at the Bowling Grange Hall,
Okay.
lunch and dinner. It's all,
They have it at the Grange Hall?
yeah.
I thought that was the Water District office.
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is, but that's, you know, it's where they bring their food. 'Cause
Very good.
their building's not ready yet.
Oh, okay.
But,
Ranger Hall's got a lot of old memories.
Yeah, it does.
yeah.
Three.
And like I said, I just want to bring up about the building security. I think you're absolutely right. We got to get on this sooner than later.
How much sooner can we do that?
We will work with all speed going forward. We're getting the quotes for what it takes to change out some of the way the locks interact. I will meet with the sheriff and the emergency management coordinator. We've asked for the Department of Homeland Security to send somebody in and help do an audit on there, but they're like 6 months out, so we've decided we're not going to wait on that. We're going to move forward. They can come in after the fact and help us reevaluate what we've done, but
Right.
we'll be moving forward.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
I have 2 items.
Okay.
What can be done to improve the voting? I want you to get together with the clerk, tell her that don't be politically correct.
Saturday voting.
Well,
You're
you know,
bound determined to get voting on Saturday.
I was
That's a
watching.
soccer game.
If Louis
you're
can
gonna be in
get
the
soccer,
way.
I can get voting
Yeah.
on Saturday.
Yeah, I didn't get soccer. No siree. But I was watching that, you know, the bad station Fox last night. And they happened to have a weather report on there of how the severe weather in Indiana, Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
that mail-in would eliminate that. I mean, you do not want people getting out in major thunderstorms. And I realize there's a lot of people that don't want more people voting because they call it the uneducated vote. And I don't look at it that way, but I think that the system needs to be changed. This is a changed world, same way with changing in regards to what's going on in Baser and Tonganoxie. None of that going on in your district, is there? No housing developments being done
We just approved one last week.
up there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, okay, the 5. Yeah,
It's one we approved today anywhere.
yeah, that was a major one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a big one.
Yeah. So, I think we still need to inquire to the state to have, at your option, the county can have a total mail-in ballot.
Well, we will know who our new representatives are
Oh, God,
after
yes.
tonight.
Yeah, well, maybe tonight. Yeah, ours should go pretty rapidly.
on representatives, yeah.
But that doesn't mean anything.
Depending on how close it is. If it's really
But that
close,
means-
obviously, you have to wait till the end of the week for any mail-in ballots to come in,
Would it,
and the
I
canvas.
know, I have two neighbors that decided to call in and have their ballots mailed to them. They really liked it.
Yep.
They talked to me and said they
it is-
like that. They don't have to worry about where they're going or they forget where they're going. And they were really,
yep,
I think,
The clerk provided a link on the main website where you just click on it, fill out a few questions, and they send you your mail-in ballot. My son took advantage of that since he's out in Manhattan, was able to vote that way. So it is really easy if people wanted to. They just have to do that, give themselves enough time. So
did you know there's 13 states that do not have advanced balloting? Did everybody know that?
I did hear that, and Missouri's one of them.
Did you see the lines at Missouri polling places today? At
Saw
6
that.
o'clock this morning?
Yep. And out of that 13 states, it's very hard to get you can still get an absentee, but you really have to give them a reason why you need it. So, but I thought that was interesting, 13 states. Now, wouldn't it be nice if it was raining all day in Missouri?
Standing outside.
Yeah, oh, that's nice. So, there are,
I have, if you're done, I've got a
yeah,
question. I guess this would be for David. I've got one of my constituents called me on a fence viewing, one of your favorite things. And it's, what the problem is, he said he's willing to fix the fence, but it has to be fixed and the tree line taken out, but it has to be done from the landowners across from him that are, his cattle are getting over into this guy's property. He's got fall pasture. And I said, well, can you pin him up in your corral and call the sheriff? And he said, I don't have a big enough corral for 40 head. And the 40 head are eating his pasture down. He was saving this for fall pasture. What is his options? I said, well, I'll ask and maybe we can have a fence viewing, and by having a fence viewing, and maybe he'll have to take him to court to get permission to, because he is caught between a rock and a hard place, and he cannot fix this fence, I guess, from his side. He has to go on the other landowner's side. And I don't want to mention any names in public, but I will tell you after the meeting, and you'll recognize them. I think it's when you went out and got a bunch of chiggers.
Well, Commissioners, fence viewing is not a panacea to disputes between neighbors or one party's unwillingness to properly keep in their livestock. A fence viewing merely establishes a legal responsibility on the part of the adjoining property owners to fix the fence. As to whether or not the fence is actually fixed, that's probably going to result in a private action brought in court by the property owners themselves.
So the first step for him would be to request a fence viewing.
I believe there may have already been one, but he could request another one. At the same time,
This is on a different piece of property.
Property owners
But
have...
same two property owners.
Okay, well, I'm joyful to hear that, Commissioner.
I thought you would, so.
At the same time, those parties have private remedies as well, and they are probably much more efficient than...
I think he's
obtaining a fence
contacted the
viewing.
party, and his basically said, no, you're not coming on my property. But he's got 40 head coming over on his property, and he said, what do I do?
Well, again, a fence viewing can be conducted, but a fence viewing in and of itself isn't going to keep any cattle from going anywhere.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm after too is if he requests a fence viewing, then if he goes to court, can he request a copy of the fence viewing results?
the fence viewing can be introduced into court as evidence of an order of the responsibilities between the parties for the maintenance of the partition fence.
Okay. Thank you.
And isn't the fence viewing supposed to be recorded at the Register of Deeds?
Fence viewing, if properly done, is recorded at the Register of Deeds for future record and can be, again, introduced into a private action to enforce that.
But he's lost his pasture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and see, it's not growing back now,
Well,
but he saved, I guess, maybe some hay ground or something, I don't know what it was. Anyway, he says.
Still
this
responsible
guy's
for your
got-
animals if they do.
This guy's got 40 head coming over onto his property, and he says, you know, with hay being short, he says, I was planning on having this as fall pasture. He said, they're just eating it up.
Well, that's a shame. It's a shame they're not hogs, because they had that happening up in Easton, and
Oh, I know who.
somebody put the word out that there were wild boar up there, and the military were really having a good time killing wild boar. Wasn't cattle. Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
How about Bob?
Do we need to put this on the agenda? Because I think I'm planning on going to.
No, all you have to do is have,
Becky call up there.
yeah. Or you can call,
It'll be on the agenda.
yeah,
It'll be on the agenda. We'll have to list it on the agenda because it'll be more than one commissioner.
I'll have to talk to him. What do I want to talk to him about? He doesn't know anything about Black Hawk.
No, I know nothing about it. I've heard about them.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in going.
You better believe it. So, okay, how about staff? You all through?
Good.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
One, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 Aye.